3 reasons why you should consider investment banking in 2024. If it's the first time you're visiting our channel, please click subscribe. And as always, if you find value in this video, give us a thumbs up. Now, investment banking is something that everybody hears of. You watch shows, movies like Wolf of Wall Street, shows like Billions. If you're a Bollywood fan, you've seen Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, and that is what Hrithik's career is in. And we've all heard about investment banking, and there's some reason we feel it is extremely glorified. It has a lot of sex appeal that I want to get into investment banking. And there is a lot of merit to it. But in this video, we're going to talk about the myths as well as the reality and hopefully help you make a better decision. Now, investment banking can be split into 2 parts. There's something called front end, and then there's something called operations. Front end requires different skill set than operations. Front end is where you will be, first of all, very strong technically. But secondly, you are an extremely social person. You go and talk to a lot of people. You can actually go build a network. You can manage that network. You know what deals are coming through and know how to really grab those deals, because investment banking essentially how it works is there are 2 companies. One wants to acquire the other, and that entire transaction, right? It's just going to be a lot of money involved in the transaction. The investment banker is the one who connects them, does all the paperwork, all the groundwork, either of them helps them to know if it's the right deal or not. And if it goes through, if the entire transaction makes a percentage, which generally amounts to something large. Now, this is what front-end people do. But I want to actually talk more about the operations as point number 1. An amazing base in finance. You are supposed to learn within operations how to make financial models, how to value companies, how to make presentations for front-end people to go and pitch. You get to learn and apply so many things in finance, learn so many things in accounts, that if you're good at it, what you can do for the rest of your life after a few years of investment banking operations is completely on you. But the time spent to grind it out, understanding credit rating, understanding different industries, understanding different countries, the pace, the exposure that you get at the operations level is fantastic, especially if you are better at the technical things than too much of the people bit, right? The social aspect. Also, there is, of course, the chance that from operations you can get to front end. Generally, people at the front end are the ones who've come from top B schools, have amazing communication skills, and the ones in operations are the ones who do all the work and then climb up slowly because they didn't have the same start as some of these guys. However, operations is sometimes, I feel, it prepares you much better. It prepares you really well for the world of finance. Companies like JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, a lot of these investment banks, Goldman Sachs, all of these guys are hiring in India for global clients as well as Indian clients, giving you so much to understand, so much to learn. I think if you don't have any major master's degree or you're not planning for anything immediately, learning investment banking not only gives you a great base to start with, but might give you a potential career trajectory which you could not have imagined. Point number 2, networking. Now, people think front-end is the only way you can network, and that is true. Front-ending, you meet a lot of CEOs, you meet a lot of CFOs, you meet a lot of people who make those decisions between 2 large companies. But within operations, you can also find a lot of opportunities in networking. The people around you, the seniors, companies you work for can always give you a path to finding great people to either just simply befriend or to turn into mentors, turn into associates, and in a few years, work out something with them because there is a team of you guys who are experts in the field of finance and can find a way ahead. Networking never goes out of need. Point number 3, it doesn't matter where you start from. You could be an engineer, you could be a failed CA or a CFA, you could be just a BCom graduate, you could come from another industry. As long as you're willing to put in the time and effort, you can learn investment banking. You can work in it with great companies offering you the opportunity. You should not be too hasty for the salary because that will come once you prove yourself. But in the initial days, if you're in the initial weeks and months, you need basically just come into it because it's possible to learn from scratch and then build your career from that. Very few career paths give you this opportunity. You can't become a psychologist or a doctor, or you can't get into a very technical field, the day you decide I've just in a few months get into it, most of the times you require years of education to be a specialist. But luckily, this is one of those fields that does not expect you to do that. So if you are basically keen on changing your career or entering into this kind of a field, doesn't matter where you're from, put in the effort, you'll get there.